Introduction to criminal procedure. What happens in police custody? But before we get started, quick true or false. Does a detainee have to answer questions in a police interview? Just give them a few seconds. The answer is false. A detainee does not have to answer questions. That's obviously part of the caution, which I'll explain later on, but a detainee does not have to answer questions. Hello everyone, Stephen's Vlogs, the channel where we are going to speak about lifestyle and police custody. You might ask, why do we want to know about that? I've been working in police custody over 10 years as an appropriate adult. I'm independent from the police. So I've seen a lot of the community enter custody, maybe for the first time, and the perception they have is maybe what they've seen online or what their friends have told them. And a lot of people, just my opinion, they get a few things wrong because the system is, the way the system is designed, there's things in place when somebody's been detained in a police station. And I'll get onto it later on. Things like your three main rights. This is where I see a lot of people just lose it in custody regards their rights. Let's go. Someone's been arrested and they have to be taken to an authorized place of detention to be questioned regards the allegation. If someone's been arrested, remember one thing, it's an allegation. You cannot be found guilty in a police station. An allegation has been made, you've been arrested, the police have to ask you questions in a recording. So it's just an allegation. Please remember that. I've seen a lot of people say, well, if they've been arrested, they've done something wrong. Whoa, chill. No, it's just an allegation and they have to be questioned. The detained person has arrived at the police station, and once you pass the threshold of the police station, your 24-hour clock starts. This is where the term 24 hours in police custody kicks in. You might have heard about it or seen it on TV, but this is where your 24-hour clock starts once you pass the threshold. The only time your clock will stop is if you have to go to hospital and your clock will be paused, and once you come back, your clock will start again. Again, I'll explain that in more detail later on down. All right, so you're in custody now. So a sergeant or custody officer, remember one thing, they are independent from the investigation. They're there to look after you whilst you're in custody. So in the beginning, they'll be asked to authorize the individual's detention for the purpose of questioning, which will be done under recording. So like I said, you're in custody. They will open a custody record, which is a front sheet. And this information, I must say, they're going to ask you loads of questions, like health questions as well, just to make sure you're fit to be in a police station, or if you require any medical assistance whilst you're detained. And on that sheet record would also be like your name, date of birth, a few personal questions, along with your time of arrest, your location of arrest, maybe the location of the offense, the time you arrived at the police station, and the time you arrived in custody where your detention log has started. Not in any particular order. You will be searched when you come in just to make sure there's nothing you have on you, and any personal property on you will be put in a bag, sealed, and placed in a locker until you are released. I must say, if any property you have on you may be linked to the offense, that could be seized. And then you get that back at a later date. I'm not sure when, but you get it back at a later date. If the police suspect you might have something concealed on you, or if you've been arrested for drugs offense, you'll be strip searched, but they'll have to get authorization, and a strip search will take place in a private room. So you'll go in there with some officers. If you've got an appropriate adult will be inside or outside. It's the detainee's choice. And then what happens in a strip search, because this is quite important. At no stage will the detainee be naked. I know we've heard of cases like child Q, which we cannot ignore, because that was a big disrespect. But at no stage should a detainee be naked. So in the beginning, they'll ask you to remove your top half. So you remove your top half, they'll check your clothing, and they'll obviously give it back to you unless they're going to change your clothing and give you custody clothing. Top half is back on, then they'll ask you to remove your bottom half. Same thing will happen like the top half, check it, give you back or give you new clothing. I must point out, at no stage will the officers touch you regards the strip search. They'll ask you to take off the clothing yourself and hand it to them for them to check, and they'll give you back. At no stage should an officer put their hands on you to take your clothes off you. So that's that. Strip search is done. You're now back in custody, you're back at the custody desk. And again, they may continue to ask you a series of questions regards your health and various things. I must say, this is just the beginning stage. And also, being arrested for the first time can be very daunting and stressful for some people. Like, I've seen a lot of people have panic attacks because being arrested it's not a nice experience for some people. Well, it's not a nice experience anyway, but some people, it can affect them quite bad. But all I can say is the custody is there. The custody staff are there to look after you whilst you're being detained. So obviously we'll discuss things, food, if you need your medication, there's a health practitioner on site, but the custody team are there to look after you whilst you're being detained. That's the beginning of being booked in. Next video, we'll talk about someone's rights in the police station, fingerprints, photograph, DNA, Cozart test, and this book here, the Police and Criminal Evidence Act 1984. This book governs what the police can and can't do. You might think, why is man laughing? Because I know you're saying to yourself, what? There's a book that governs what the police can and can't do? Yes, this is it. This is it. And I'll go into more detail of these things in our next video. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. If you want to subscribe, feel free. If you want to share it, I appreciate that. But this channel is about police custody, because I just believe, personally speaking, there ain't enough information, especially in the local communities, of what happens in the police custody. So thanks for watching Stephen's Vlogs.